We're talking to Ms. Hester and Mr. Moss, and the issue is room in the inn. But of course, ladies, as our audience probably know now, that some of the things that we've been talking about are far beyond the room in the inn. Let's, Ms. Hester, give you an opportunity to give our audience some information as to how they might be able to assist you and Mr. Moss in terms of financial assistance or whatever kind of assistance that they might be able to render to you.
Well, we always need, of course, financial assistance like everyone does, and in-kind goods. Things like toiletry items, the little hotel soaps, socks and underwear and clothing. But I think what's the most precious thing people can give is their time. And if we can build relationships with people, then those become the invitations for one to do something more with their life. And so we need volunteers in the congregations. They need more volunteers. We need more congregations to participate. And we also need volunteers to come down to the campus, especially to join our educational program. Everything from an art class to an AA meeting to how to read a blueprint so they're not a general laborer when they go to a job. I think there's a niche for everyone. Very good.
And of course, Mr. Moss, let's talk about the campus and some of the successes that you've had at the campus.
Well, we may not always measure success like other people do, because we think that intoxicated person that is brought to the guest house, if he stays and gets nourishing food and interaction with other people and is given a little bit of hope, and if he even goes back out the next day, and the next time he comes, maybe he'll stay another day, but every time he comes in, he gets more nourishment. And we see a lot of success with people that have been out there literally for years, and then all of a sudden they are going to stay, and they want treatment, and they go on. And actually, most of the guest house staff right now is, the staff that's employed came from the programs themselves. They're guys that came from the streets and are now over. They're the ones that do the shift coordinating. They're the ones that invite the other guests to be a part of the program and to rebuild their lives. And that statement alone, coming from someone that's been there, is tremendously powerful. But our other staff, we actually have people with master's level degrees, and we have people all the way down to the shift coordinator that never had anything but maybe a grocery store clerk. But and that's not to say that the other shift coordinators don't have degrees. We also have some that have, of those that have master's level. Our staff is, when you come to the campus and if you become staff, you won't last long if you don't fit. Because it is a very stressful job. You do get very close to people and they die, or they'll come to you that they've got a member of their family that's died, but maybe their family doesn't want them back home. But so you really literally become the family. But we have a lot of people that go on to complete their GED from the case management program for the alcohol and drug treatment programs. We have people that get into their own apartments, get back into successful jobs, and continue on with their life. And our congregations don't hear a lot of that, because if you get different people every night, if they take them just one night a week, and they may see different people every time they take them, they don't hear a lot of the success unless we get it out there. And I do think the campus itself needs to do a better PR of telling the successful stories and making it out there. But I think I got very close to several of the people over the years that I met from the very beginning. And we are seeing a lot of them that were first diagnosed with HIV/AIDS, that we've buried a lot of those in the last couple of years, that when 18 years ago when they came in, they just found out they had it. They didn't know what they really had or anything. But now we're seeing a lot of them die.
And so what we're saying here is that you are aware on the campus of this as a real problem, AIDS, and that some of the individuals that you're dealing with on the campus actually have this disease.
I think so, and I think anytime you work with any population, I know some people get afraid of TB. They think all of the homeless have TB and everything. I'll be honest with you, I think you're going to come up with somebody that can expose you to TB in your own congregation faster than you will the homeless. Rooming in requires that they have TB testing and everything before they come through the program. So they're actually healthy in that respect. But you have to remember, if you've been on the streets very long and you haven't had good nutrition and everything, and if you are an alcohol or drug user or an IV drug user, you're going to be exposed to everything, and sometimes they're not careful like they should be. So we do know that all of that is there, but I've been exposed to TB a couple of times, and I've never gotten it. I think sometimes you just go on and do what you got to do, and it works out. It's the people that come, I just don't know how to explain it. It's not like going to work. I hate meetings. That's the part of my job I really hate.
Away from the people.
I like that connection. I like being able to sit down and talk to them and hear their stories and where they've come from and what they've done. And I got extremely close to one of the women that had been on the street. I had known her since she hit the streets. Long about the time she was 16 or 18, she'd off and on, you know, she'd run away or whatever. And she died about a year ago. And I did get very close to her. And she was, it really tore me up. And I knew her story too. And I knew that she had had problems with her family and everything. And it was very hard watching her die.
And so, in that occupation, you have an opportunity to meet people over the years that you've seen them when they first came into the program, and now you watch them. And so you've also watched some people who've been able to change their lives in a positive fashion, as well as people who...
I think it's the ones that stick out in your mind often are the ones that grabbed hold and you couldn't let go. But I will share a personal story. I hope my brother doesn't mind. He actually came through the guest house. He was homeless. He was a bad alcoholic. And family couldn't deal with him anymore. Family often can't deal with alcohol and drug issues. And he came to the guest house. He stayed 6 months. He got sober. He celebrated his 5th birthday. We never know who's going to walk through our doors. You never know. My mother used to say she had an uncle that one day left the breakfast table and they never saw him again. They don't know why. They never knew. And I know a lot of people do that. And whether it's mental illness or what. But you know, a lot of people think that the same people are homeless. That's not true. Our statistics prove that every year 56% of our population moves on, that they are transient, that it's only that 40-something that remain. And most of it is families can put up with you so long, but they can't put up with you forever.
So if they sort of move on through and catch a train and end up somewhere else.
Or they might move on to a job, into their own apartment.
And don't let us know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't look back. You know, it's not something they want to be reminded of. They don't want to wear a badge that I was homeless, I am homeless. And so, unfortunately, we don't see every success story, but we do know that we have to judge success one day at a time.
And we do get lots of letters from people.
Now, what if a congregation is not involved in the Room in the Inn program, and you would like to encourage that congregation to do so? What could you say to them this morning?
Well,
what would they have to do? What would they have to do?
They could call me at 251-7019. They could ask for anyone in the Room in the Inn program. And a congregational coordinator said it once best when he said, when you ask another congregation to do Room in the Inn, you're not sharing the burden, you're sharing the blessing. It's really letting people put their faith into action.
And so you would encourage those congregations that might not be involved in Room in the Inn?
Absolutely. Absolutely, look into it.
Half of our population pretty much breaks down into white and African American, and we would truly love to see more African American congregations participating. We want that role model, especially for some of the younger African American men. We have a lot of, it's like I said, it's pretty much split right down the middle. I think last year it was 47% African American, and then the 44% were white. So it's a real even split, and I would like to see that.
More African American
I really would. You've lost a whole generation of people to drugs, and some of these younger people that are on the streets, they need that role model so bad, and they need to be proud of who they are. And I think that would help so much. We have several African American churches that participate and literally go out of their way. They're so good, and we'd like to see more.
More African American and more minority participation as well in whatever you're doing there.
Yes.
And those who might not wish to become a part of it, that they can provide some kind of financial resources in order to help.
They can, and we'd love to have them come to the campus. Like Rachel said, we can always use volunteers. If you want to do nothing but come in and talk to someone and decide, hey, are they really out here because they want to be, or is there a real problem? Because some people think people are there.
We've got 30 seconds, Mr. Moss, and over the last few seconds, say something about Father Strobel. about him in this program?
Well, Father Strobel is the dreamer. He's the one that has truly brought it all together. He is still very much of a leader. He's the example to the whole, to all of the congregations. He has a charisma about him. He has a deep love for the homeless that I think most people will never understand.
Very good. And let me thank the two of you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hester and Mr. Moss for coming by and giving us some excellent information. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.